Hello and welcome back. In this video, we are going to learn about favicons. So a favicon is that little icon that you see when you load up your browser and you have multiple tabs open. And you got that little image beside the tab title. And to give you an example, you can see right behind me here where it says document, there is no favicon. But if we went into imdb.com, you can see up here, it's loading, there it is, that little favicon right there. So that icon is called a favicon. Some people call it a favicon. I'm not really sure which one's the right way to say it. Honestly, it doesn't really matter, but we're going to add one now. So let's go ahead and create a new file. First, I'm going to open up VS Code, so new, and then I'm going to save this as, let's save this as favicon.html. And for this one, we're going to need to create an image or grab an image. So I'm going to create an image using Photoshop, but it doesn't really matter if I've created the image or you create the image. Really what matters is that we have an image. So we need an HTML5 page layout. I'm going to skip past this stuff called favicons. And we are going to have some stuff in our body here. Our body here. And let's open this up in Firefox. So I'm just going to open up favicon.html and we see, okay, we've got a title up here called favicons and we've got nothing really important in our body. So a favicon is actually, it's a pretty simple little thing to add. It takes an element that we've already used, link. We use a different relation. So instead of using a style sheet, which is what we've used so far, we are going to use an icon. And the type is going to be different based on the type of image. And we're going to talk about that in just a sec. And it also takes a hyperlink reference to the image. And so this one, we're going to put it in a new folder. So we're going to get into some more pathing here. Favicons slash, let's just call it favicon.png. So I'm going to use a PNG. And because I'm going to use a PNG, my image type needs to be image/PNG. So let's make this just a tad smaller. And if I was to change this to, let's change this to a GIF. I don't imagine that the GIF is actually going to animate in there, so you might want to stick with a regular single frame GIF, JPEG, something like that. Or if you want to stick with a regular .ico, not ICON, favicon.ico. This is the old way of doing it. Back in the day, this is how we made favicons. We didn't have PNG support or JPEG support. It had to be a specific .ico file. This no longer is the case. But if you still want to support that, by all means, go for it. It is completely supported. And you can just type in the image type as x-icon. And again, that matches this extension here where it says .ico. So I'm going to change mine to a PNG because I like the transparency of a PNG and it's easy to edit. Next, I'm going to open up Photoshop. Now, at this point, you don't need to open up Photoshop. You can just grab an image from the internet if you like, or get it from the project files. And I'm just going to try to resize my screen here so that you can see what I'm doing. So you can see I've already actually made a favicon here. So I'm just going to open this up. We are looking at a particular type of image here. So this just says H for HTML. It's the HTML5 colored orange. All it is the letter H. And so this image, if I go up into image size, you're going to see that it is 64 pixels by 64 pixels. It honestly doesn't need to be too much bigger than that because a favicon is pretty tiny. So again, if we open up Firefox and let's go to imdb.com, we can see this favicon up here is super small. Generally speaking, it's 32 by 32. Sometimes people will give it a larger image just to make it a little more clear. I like giving it double the size. 64 by 64 seems to be good. You could probably give it 128 by 128, but just remember that your image is going to shrink down, so it's going to get a little bit blurry. So don't make it too big and don't make it too detailed. So I'm just going to save this file and I'm going to go to my desktop website and I'm going to create a new folder called favicons because that's what I wrote in my code. So it's called favicons. And in here, I'm just going to simply save this as a PNG. And let's put that lowercase, favicon.png. Let's make that the smallest. And When I open up VS Code, in my sidebar here, which you can turn on at any point in time, you can just go to View and then I believe it's just Explore. Yeah, View, Explore. You'll see a new folder in here called Favicons, and a file in there called favicon.png. So it's got a transparent background. And that matches the folder name, Favicons, and the file name, favicon.png. Let's go ahead and close this link element and refresh Firefox. And there it is, just like that. Now, if this doesn't work for you, and for a lot of browsers, you're going to run into a problem here. Favicons are heavily cached. So if you're using Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge, often this won't show up. So instead, to verify that this is going to work, what you do is you go into your view source, and where you see your link, rel is equal to icon, type is equal to image/png rather, you can just simply click this URL that you added in here, this relative link. And if that loads for you, chances are your favicon is going to work. The other option is you can give it what's called a hard reload. Some browsers have this, some browsers don't have this. Chrome, if you right click on the reload button, will actually say hard reload or hard refresh. Can't remember what it's called. But generally it's Command-Shift-R or Control-Shift-R. And if you just slam that a few times over and over and over again, you're telling the browser, hey, get the newest stuff. And so that's how you do a little quick hard refresh to hopefully clear some cache. The third way is you can always copy this link and open up a new incognito window or new private browsing window and try it in there. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Favicons are finicky that way. Eventually, though, it will work. Eventually, your browser will just say, oh, okay, well, I need to go and get a new favicon, so let's go fetch the newest one. So that's all there is to adding a favicon. Now, your task for this video, pretty straightforward, I think, is basically do what I did. I want you to create a new HTML file, add a favicon using the link element. Make sure your rel is equal to an icon. Type is equal to whatever your image type is supposed to be. It's always image/PNG, JPEG, GIF, X-icon, something like that. I usually stick with PNGs just because they're nice and you get a little bit of transparency in the background. Put your image in a separate folder. So now we have to use some relative pathing here. It's really good practice to work with this over and over and over again. And then once you're done that, save your file as favicon.html, open it up in your favorite browser, maybe Firefox, Safari, Edge, or Chrome, doesn't really matter, and verify that it works by refreshing your page and checking out your favicon up here.